Well, they really f***ed up. Halo Infinite has been delayed to 2021, and now the Series X lineup is looking... Well, there is no launch lineup. It's all third-party stuff and improved versions of games that are also coming out on existing hardware. But some games, like Cyberpunk 2077, aren't even getting a next-gen version until later next year. For anyone even remotely following the games industry, it's been pretty clear by now that COVID was bound to affect games development. After all, there have already been high-profile delays such as The Last of Us Part 2 and Cyberpunk. However, with most of Microsoft studios having released games recently, I always thought they would be hit the hardest in terms of delays of upcoming games, given the stage that those games are in. Halo Infinite, however, has been in development for 5 years by a studio that has already made Halo games in the past. They've made the Master Chief Collection and Halo 4 and 5, among many others. This isn't also a God of War for PS4 scenario where they are fundamentally redesigning the franchise. Going by the demo that they showed recently, this is a pretty Halo-ass Halo game that plays like Halo. So this delay comes as a complete shock, especially when you consider that this was the launch game for the Series X. Granted, the game had an extremely poor showing recently, but there's no way that that reaction is behind this delay, because there must be some more serious problems with the game's development at this point. This is the game that they've been teasing for more than 2 years as the first big game for the Series X, and now it's gone. The question is how much this will hurt the Series X and how much it will hurt Microsoft in the long run. And I actually think this is a knockout punch for the Series X, even though this game already looked like a current gen game and it's not exclusive to the new console in any way. It was at least something to go on, a taste of Xbox first party to get your hopes up. Now there's nothing, and so far the only reason to get a Series X is if you think the PS5 won't be able to run games at 4K 60, which it probably will. Maybe I'm wrong, but games like Deathloop have been confirmed to run at that resolution and frame rate. Now, having said that, I think this isn't that bad for Microsoft as a whole, because selling the Series X is not their top priority. The Series X is just another delivery vehicle for Game Pass, and as such, it's not as important as the actual service itself. You see, even though it's easy to talk about the Series X versus the PlayStation 5, the truth is that Microsoft's vision for next gen isn't the new console, but rather expanding its subscription service. Here's a quote from Phil Spencer. "Our device is not the center of our strategy. Our game is not the center of the strategy. We want to enable you to play the games you want to play with the friends you want to play with on any device. On TV, the Xbox console is going to be the best way to play console games. Xbox Series X is the most powerful console out there, and it will have absolutely the best version of our console games. But that's not to exclude other people from being able to play." So it's pretty clear that the Series X is seen as a way to sell Game Pass and not the other way around. But I think there is a fundamental problem to this strategy. Game Pass is a subscription service which offers great value. There are some great games that you can play on PC or an Xbox for a small monthly fee. But in order for that service to succeed, it needs to appeal to a wide variety of users. And if you take a look at hardware surveys like the Steam Hardware Survey, you'll find that most gamers out there are using mid-range hardware. So Game Pass inherently needs to target games that can run on older hardware, like the original Xbox One, the Xbox One X, and mid-range PCs running 1050 graphics cards. So having the Series X just means you get to run those games at a higher resolution and frame rate, but the fundamental experience will be the same. And this is what Sony is pointing out when they say that they believe in hardware generations. And I believe that that's where the fun stuff is. If you take a look back at the N64, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3 era, each leap forward brought in an entirely new experience to gamers. The original PlayStation and N64 ushered in the era of 3D gaming. The PS2 refined on this by offering bigger, better experiences not possible on the old hardware and standardizing the controller design. Remember that games like San Andreas were on PlayStation 2. Then the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation brought in the HD resolution to the mix. PS4 and Xbox One have increased graphical fidelity even more, with games looking absolutely breathtaking. And the whole point of the SSDs in the new consoles is that they're supposed to fundamentally change the way that games are designed, since there will be virtually no restrictions on asset loading. But how can the Series X take advantage of that? Why would Microsoft develop games that are exclusive for that hardware and hence take full advantage of the new features if that fundamentally goes against their own objectives? The Series X should appeal to people wanting the best possible console experience out there. You know, the absolute top of the line, but it's tied to Game Pass, which is a service that needs to cater to the exact opposite type of customer, to the one looking for value. As such, the new hardware is completely at odds with the overall mission of the Xbox brand. Yes, there is some overlap, and of course, if you get a Series X and Game Pass, you get great value out of that, but to me, it seems like you're getting really great hardware that's going to be overkill for the games that you'll be running. After all, Halo Infinite, when it comes out, will run at 120 frames on the new console. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all in for better frame rate. I'm typing this on a 240Hz monitor, which I love using for my PC gaming. But who the hell has a 120Hz TV out there? I know that will change in the future, but as far as I can tell, for a true 4K 130Hz TV, you're looking at over $1,000, which isn't exactly cheap. So, you know, wouldn't it be better for it to have better graphics and run at 4K 60? At least, you know, that's what I would prefer. In any case, this is a massive, massive blow to the Series X. We still have no idea about the prices of the next-gen console, so unless there's a huge price difference between them, with the PS5 being $100 or more than the Series X, I really can't imagine Xbox will be off to a great start. Now, when you think about the hardware, it almost seems like the Series X should be the more expensive one, but you know, maybe that's offset by the PS5's custom SSD, who knows. Then again, Microsoft can decide to take a big hit on sales and sell the Series X at a massive loss, which, you know, I would have thought possible, but with the amount of money that they dumped into Mixer to make it a thing and then it backfired for them, I wonder if that's something that they're willing to do again. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but things aren't looking that great for the Series X. Alright guys, that will be all for now. If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.